Hello and welcome back to another gig log. This is Nate within the Mix Light and Sound, and we're back to a familiar place, working with a familiar band. We're here at the Steel Pub, and tonight we are working again with the Lucky Seven band. Great band to work with. We always try to get them into our schedule as much as we can. So we're going to be doing our typical setup here. I'll see what kind of video I can get around it. We also brought I guess we'll call it the medium-sized light rig here, so we'll give you a tour of that as well. So with that, stay tuned. We interrupt this normal setup video to bring you our mistake. Take a look at this screenshot here. You'll notice one speaker is way higher than the other. There's a reason for that. And the reason is because I forgot to pack the correct poles. So normally I have a little stub-up pole that I use on top of the speakers. Well, I forgot that this time. So first chance at troubleshooting here, we have even smaller stub-up poles that we try. And we put that on the sub here. And you can see that when we go to put things on, it's a little wobbly. So first thing I check is, all right, are the retaining screws here actually, is one longer than the other? Maybe I can get a longer screw in there, get that to push up against the little substitute stub-up pole that I'm using. But it turns out that both of these retaining screws are the same exact size. So now we have to scrap that idea, put everything back the way it was. Next up, what we try is I have some friction tape with me. If I can put some tape on the little stub up, that should fill that void that is causing the wobble there, and we'll get that set up. And once we get the tape wrapped around there, we'll go ahead and try to put the stag stand adapter on top and see if we took care of the wobble. So now we're going to go ahead and try it, and too much tape. Now it doesn't fit at all. So back to the drawing board. Let's get rid of some of that excess tape that's on there. We'll unpeel that. That's the nice part about friction tape, is it only sticks to itself, so it's pretty easy to unpeel. And once we get that tape off, we're going to go ahead and try the fit again. And yes, a little tight, but we got to fit, and that's what we want. We want a nice tight fit. We don't want our speakers or the lighting that'll fit on top of the stag stand here to wobble at all. Next up, let's fit on the Meyer X40, which is part of our front of house speakers. Up she goes. And yes, looking good. So, is the problem solved? Well, not quite, as you'll see here in just a moment. Now, not only did I forget the little stub-up pole, but typically on this other side for the front of house speaker, I'll use one of my smaller stands, not as much height. These stands here have a greater height to them, and this is going to be where my problem lies. So I can't get these stands any lower, and as I go ahead and set it up here, you'll probably see it in my face as I recognize that, oh, this height is probably going to be a problem here. And we're going to step back, take a look, and yeah, there's no way these speakers are going to be the same height as each other if I keep it set up this way. And here we'll pause as I continue to think through what options I have with what equipment is available here. Still thinking. All right, well, we don't have any choice on this side. This is the stand that we have. There's no substitute. So let's go ahead and set it up and see how bad the height difference is really going to be. Oh yeah, it's going to be bad. What else can we do here? Think. Again, since we have no other choice, let's just get the speaker up on the stand and see how bad it truly looks. Do we just deal with this, or is there something else we can do here to help even this out? Now, at this point, I'm not just concerned about the aesthetics of how the speakers look, but sometimes when you have a pair of speakers and you have them at different heights, they can also interact with each other as far as the frequencies and the sound, and I want to make sure I avoid that in here. I really, ideally would like to get these speakers to be the same height. I'm not sure that the fisheye on the wide-angle camera does it justice here, but there certainly is a height deficit. So now we're on to solution number 2. We have 4 stands total. Ideally, I wanted to have 3 stands in the back for the lighting that I brought, but now it looks like, well, maybe we have to try to grab one of those stands that originally was going to be used by lighting, and now we're going to use it for the front of house speakers if we're going to have any chance of getting these speakers at height. And again, the lights were somewhat secondary for this gig, so the sound is the most important part. We want clarity. We want to make sure that the sound is the best it could possibly be. So now we're going to redo what we did. Not done right unless it's done twice. So we're going to remove the speaker. We're going to remove the stag stand adapter. We're going to put that over onto the other stand that we're robbing from our lights. I guess we can get rid of this little stub now too. We don't need that. Now this area next to the subwoofers ends up being a traffic path between band members and also myself if I need to get to the mixer. So we're going to move the stand and tuck it in safely so the legs of the tripod are against the sub, sticking back against the stage there. And that way it's a little bit more compact. We don't have any legs sticking out that could be trip hazards, even though there are stanchions that block this whole area off from the audience. And up goes the Meyer X40 onto the stand. And now we should have solved our height problem. Now that leaves me my just 2 stands now to utilize for the lighting in the back. You'll see how that worked out in just a little bit when we get to the performance time of these videos. So some not so quick thinking on my feet, but the idea here is that I was able to adapt with the equipment that I did have on hand, make sure that I could get those speakers the same height, again, for aesthetics and also for sound purposes. And now we'll take a look at our lighting and see how bad it's going to affect that. So we're going to continue with our regularly scheduled setup video. I like to use these little stands from Rockville, and I would not recommend them if you're putting a whole lot of weight on your speakers, but these are nice to just add a little extra height to your stands, and in this case, it's what I needed for the back line. And now we'll take a walk out here, take one last look. Much better. Much better. Yeah, this will have to work for now. Unfortunate about the lights, but again, we'll see how bad it actually ended up being a little later in this video. All right, you may notice that there's a little bit different than my normal setup here. And the reason for it is really self-inflicted. Last time I was here, I wanted to get the lights up higher, so I brought with me some of the ultimate support, the higher stands, and when I brought them, I forgot my shorter stands. So usually we have a little nub on there that we put the speaker on and run it there, and then just run a shorter stand over there. So now I had to rob one of the stands. So all that really means is we only have 2 trees of lights instead of the normal 3 trees of lights. But again, lighting isn't necessarily a priority for the group, and they were okay with the setup here. So better to have the speakers in line with each other instead of just stacking it on top of the subs. So there's my my mistake for this event, packing up and forgetting a little bit of gear. But luckily that redundancy has paid off, and we were able to work around it. Yep. Turn the computer on. All right, let's get some music, sound check. All right, check monitor 1. Yep, number 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 6 is going to be stereo linked.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? How you doing? Pretty good. Good.
Hey, hey, 1, 2, 2, check, check, 1, 2. Check, check, hey, hey, check, 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 hey, hey, 1, 2, 2. Hey, 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 1, 2, 2, 2. Check, hey, hey, 1, 2, 1. Hey, hey, 1, 2.
We'll go through the stage real quick. Of course, we're using our portable rack. So if you've watched my video, check it out on everything that's in the small rack here. But the main mixer is the Behringer Wing rack. We have break music playing with a computer. And if we head around to the back here, you can see all of our inputs patched in right into the back of the rack. And then over on the side, we have our DMX wireless coming out here. We're going through the instruments, keys, just going into a straight radial DI back there.
4 vocals that are wireless using our SEV7 capsules. It's Audix wireless. We walk across. We've got guitar mic'd up with the E906. We've got percussion with 2 SM57s. We've got bass with the direct box out. We have a mono E-drum, just a mono 1/4 inch feed there. And then a hard-wired mic for him with a SEV7. He is using in-ears, the Phoenix Pro, which I reviewed, running through a network cable, and it runs power and stereo signal directly to his headphones, so he's using ears. And then we have the horns, which are both on SLXD wireless, using Shure 98 betas for their microphones that I provided. And the SM57 there is just meant to hold the shield, sound shield there that the trumpet player likes to use rather than a monitor. So in their wedge here, it's mainly just saxophone coming through there. For lights, we have our medium rig. It's paired back to 2 trees, which I went over earlier. The reason for that is we were trying out taller poles, and while packing them, we forgot to bring our little poles. Usually on top of the subs here, I'll have a little nub and I'll have the X40 on top of that. But since we didn't have that, I had to rob the back pole here to hold this speaker up. Now, on the top, as far as lighting, we have the both spider washes. We have a stag stand here to help save on stands. So that's just running up there, washes the stage real nice. Same on the other side, just have a stand there. And then as far as the subs, we have, instead of splitting stereo or splitting left-right, which I've done in the past, I like to stack them over on the side here, just due to cancellations I was getting by running them left and right. Now I get nice even bass throughout the entire tent audience area.
All right, and that'll do it for this gig log. Thanks again for watching. So, my mistake was for getting the poles that I typically use, just the shorty, one little shorty pole, messed up my plan. But what we ended up doing to work around that is just use 2 trees in the back, which the lighting actually turned out really well, even with just 2 of those trees instead of 3 of those trees. Always good to have redundancy. So the fact that they weren't spares, but the fact that I could reuse the gear that I had, the poles in this instance, to get the speakers up high and get them where I needed them to be, worked out in my favor, because otherwise it would have been about a 45-minute drive back home, 45 minutes back, which would have been impossible. We wouldn't have made time. Running on the fly is what we do. So again, I think, sometimes I think this work is, probably 40% troubleshooting, 40% coiling cables, and then the rest is, mixing. So not always, but you get the general gist of it. So with that, we'll call it a gig log. Thanks again for watching. Look forward to your comments, and please subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps out the channel. And with that, on to the next one. Thanks again for watching.